All right, hello. We are back after quite a long hiatus. Saturday night, time for yet another stream. Picking up where we left off with this Delonza Saul giving away an HG GQuuuuuX tonight. Hope everyone had a good couple weeks while I was away. A lineup of several things that caused for 2 streams in a row, no streams, so that's kind of crazy. Plenty of stories to go along with that as we get into the stream tonight. I am going to jump into the chat, say hello and all that good stuff. Before I forget, number one, if you enjoy these streams, do please hit that like button. Let's remind everybody we're back, and we are running a sale over at mechawarehouse.com this weekend. 15% off all in-stock items with code AUG15. So take advantage of that if you been thinking about grabbing something. What else there is to talk about? We do have a sweet backup prize on tap. Last time we had a stream, we had a ton of super chats and the like, so I pulled something nice and set it aside for that. Won't give away what it is unless we draw it, but I will be using a little bit lower number ranges tonight for our giveaway drawings, so hopefully get to that special backup prize tonight as well. We'll see. Yeah, let's jump in the chat, say hello, and then get back to the building and talking about all the shenanigans over the last couple weeks. What's up, Wolfpack, Dylan Dull, Matthew Mahoney, MZ, John Ventura, Maverick Entity, Lord Kronos, Heathcliff, what's up? Go Zero, Steve, what's up? Butterknuckles, Adam Champo, Bakazicio, Atomic Etrigan, It's a Gundam, Death, Coleslaw, Michael, what's up? Jason, Rob, what's going on? Bone Daddy, how are you? Blasphemy Builds, Maverick Entity, Working Legs, MG Jim, Command Space Type. They start early today, nice. So working on Mad Max style, War Rig, take a break from Mechs, got burned out a bit on them. It's okay, it's good to mix it up. So, yeah, back to the building. I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm not gonna lie, I looked at the model and the instructions before the stream started to remind myself where I was. I think we were working on the waist and skirt armor last week before the last couple weeks off. Anyway, what's everybody up to? And hope everyone had a good couple weeks off. You know, anybody do anything particularly exciting? D3, 13, 14, 8, 24. CF03 Harpy. Interesting. So as I said, the last couple weeks were pretty interesting and exciting for me. I was out of town for a decent chunk of that, got away with the family for a little bit, and then ended up going to IPMS Nationals. Hopefully have a small, short mini vlog for that in the next few weeks, assuming I can actually force myself to make the time to edit the footage I got. But it was a good couple weeks overall. It's good to get away. Starting on HG Seed meter unit from Key Band that showed up this week. I underestimated the size of this thing. The meter unit's pretty big. It's a build day to day and 30-minute mission armor core kit today. That's cool. So my little Cloud Town posted that IPMS Nationals were in Hampton, VA, which I've known more than an hour in advance. Whoops. What day did they send out the notice? It was a 4-day event, I want to say. I went on the last day, which was Saturday. but I think it started on like Wednesday or something. Where's all my stuff and how do I build models? I've been experimenting building decks in the Gundam TCG lately and went 3-0 in 2 tournaments so far. It's cool. How was it? Saturday's what I saw there when I saw the post. Gotcha. Saturday I think was if you're just gonna dabble and just go in, especially if you're not an IPMS member, Saturday was probably the best day because all the models were on the table by then. So they mostly go for the shopping. It was pretty good. There were some good models. I feel like it was a different experience for me. It's my first time ever being to a nationals, and where the event is so spread out chronologically, you know, over 4 days as opposed to just 1 day. And the fact that only IPMS members are allowed to enter the contest, it felt different. I feel like usually I go to these things, especially like I go to ODO, which is also in Virginia, and I talk to a ton of people. You know, I know so many people, or a lot of people know me and will say hi that I don't even know who they are, and it's just a good time socially, if you will, finding and talking to people interested in the same thing that I'm interested in. And at Nationals, of course, I did have some good conversations and saw some people I know and stuff. There's definitely fewer people that I already knew, and because everything's spread out chronologically over multiple days, and people probably, if they are there, they're not necessarily hanging out by their own model all day, it makes it a little bit harder to meet and talk to and converse with people, which is, to me, like half the reason I go to these things is the like networking and social engagement. I've been one of those people, right, Jason? Game is super easy to pick up and learn. I'm having fun playing it so far. The Wing Zero card is absolutely busted as well. So like when I went to ODO this year, I think I filmed like 11, 12, 13 interviews or something like that. Some with people I've talked to numerous times and interviewed multiple times. Some with people I had never met before. I got 0 interviews this year at Nationals. Part of that I blame on just being exhausted after the whole week leading up to that. And part of it being that the only people I would have had the opportunity to really interview and stuff were people I'd already interviewed a million times. It just felt kind of weird to do. So, it'll be a little bit different style vlog this time around. Definitely a lot shorter, but it was an interesting event. There was definitely some vendors I haven't seen at other shows because it was Nationals that I think really pull out all the stops to be a vendor at a show that size. But definitely is not the same experience. I would argue unless you are a IPMS member or you're like super local, probably not worth traveling cross country for Nationals. Maybe other events are different, but it really depends on what you're into. The most important question is, Nick, did you get donuts? We did get donuts. Had to get donuts. Sure, shows like that here in Florida. Would love to go. I think there's IPMS shows in Florida. I want to say Orlando's has a chapter or something. I don't know how big it is or how much Gundam there is. I understand that the Nationals this year had probably the largest Gundam turnout to date, which was, overall a good thing. I think there was some frustration about judging because I think the local Gundam community tried to get involved in judging and were basically snubbed a little bit because they didn't have quote-unquote Nationals judging experience or something like that. I don't know the full story there, so I don't want to get fully into the rumor mill. Did you get cookout? We did get cookout. We did our vacation actually not far from it. We were in Williamsburg for Busch Gardens for the week, so it lined up really well. Do Busch Gardens for a week and a few other small things, and then go to nationals. We did get cookout, which was good. That was a good experience. I would definitely go to cookout again. The real star food-wise, I guess there's two that are not what I would have expected. In Williamsburg, there is a small Japanese hibachi place called Oishi. I think that's the Japanese word for delicious, and that was really, really good. It was like order at the counter kind of thing. We did that one of the days that we were taking a day off from being in the park, and the other one there was it like Kilwins or something like that? There was an ice cream place not far from there that was probably the best ice cream I've ever had in my entire life. It was just so different. It was like they had a waffle bowl you could do instead of like a waffle cone, and we actually went twice. The first day they were like making the stuff like fresh, so it was still like kind of crispy, kind of soft, and it was very good. The workshops at nationals, they do. I think that's one of the key differences. So I feel like if you're an IPMS member and heavily involved in that, it could make a lot of sense, and probably the like national level networking and all that kind of stuff. Kilwins, that sounds right. I want to drive out and get ice cream sandwiches. But it was so good we had to go a second time, because it was just the ice cream itself, even just, it seemed like it was on a different level. Burger Theory Newport News area is fantastic. Interesting. If I'm ever out there again, maybe I'll try it out. Normally I don't crave ice cream. But made for an exciting week. The drive down was kind of exciting too. Spent about 15 hours in the car. We did our best to avoid all the cities all the way down, and only hit a bit of traffic towards the end in Virginia. But we started the trip at like 4 in the morning, trying to get an early start so we wouldn't get down super late. And we, like 2 minutes into the ride, there was a down tree on our street. Thankfully, we don't live in a cul-de-sac, or the whole vacation would have been kind of screwed up. And a bird hit us somewhere, I want to say in Pennsylvania or something, while we were driving down as well. Hit the car. Also kind of exciting. Let's see. Do you have a favorite model? Actually, yeah, I'd say my favorite model, and this wasn't necessarily the model itself's sake, although it was a very nice model as well. In the sci-fi vehicles, they had my Grail kit. Someone had the Gundam hardgraph tank built, painted, and customized, and it was really good. Or probably didn't see the guys. Like, I think I've tried to fly across in front of us, and it didn't go fast enough, and hit the corner of our windshield. Not sure what kind of bird it was. It was pretty big, but it definitely caused some excitement in the car on the ride down there. In a minivan where a barn owl swooped into the windshield. Wow. It's crazy. My parents one time had a deer run into the side of their car as they're driving down the road, so I suppose that can happen. Definitely added some excitement to the drive, though. Caught bats in my work van. Any memorable grunt suits you saw? Yes. I think actually I need to put this on my to-do list. I need to lock the highlights or whatever. So that way they're linked on there. But let's see. Grunt suits. There was something that jumped out at me. I want to say a couple cool gyms. That was a pretty good one. What was the other one? I want to say there was like, oh yeah, there's a really cool tier and ground type. Probably really hard to see on the phone here. Not cool when your windows are down. Or just beyond Mount Washington, a Bluebird hit her truck. One brain of kids, the storyline. Oh geez. There's one other one. This was a pretty cool little vignette to another gym, kinda standing over Zaku. I have all these pictures were up on Instagram like the day, like the evening of the show on from there, and so I can set up the highlight reel or whatever it's called. I should do that probably tomorrow, maybe sometime when I've got nothing better to do. But there are a lot of good builds. I mean, as you'd kind of expect at a Nationals level event, you know, there are a lot of highly competitive, high quality builds, which is always good to see. I'm sure there were a ton of talented people there though, and unfortunately I didn't really see or meet all that many that I didn't already know, which was, you know, kind of disappointing. Alright, so got all that. I think backpack is next. Welcome back, Nick. How's everything going? It's going good. I feel kind of lucky to be even having the stream tonight. I had a nasty headache like 4 or 5 hours ago, and I was so on the verge of just saying screw it, I can't stream tonight. And thankfully, the second round of etc. took care of it. Should go back again. So Nationals itself, I mean, if it were in a convenient location, I think I would go again. I'd been wanting to go to one for a while, but they'd all been in like more challenging places to get to, or just didn't line up with my availability, I guess. A couple years ago, there was one in like Nebraska or something, Omaha, and it's like a couple hours of driving after the flights just to get there, kind of thing. So that was kind of a no-go that year. And yeah, so I feel like ODO is a better show, at least as a casual observer or even as a participant in a lot of ways in the Gundam categories. But each Nationals, I think, is put on by different groups, so who knows what the next one's like. You know that your headache went away? It was unbearable, if not tented. Yeah, it was rough. Would you compete? Nationals, probably not, just because I'm not an IPMS member. Maybe that will change at some point. But I have like too many things going on to be a member of yet another group that I don't participate in. I've thought about joining the local chapter, but I'd probably learn a lot. It'd probably be very valuable, but I just don't have time. Yeah, so I feel like one of the takeaways from the event, the end of next year, I saw there were a ton of vendors. Yeah, I think there's there were a lot of vendors at this one. It was a lot of like big big vendors. Research, see what IP minutes comes around my area. I'd love to see crazy builds in person. I think it's $30 a month to be a member. I don't know if it's that much. I don't think it's super expensive. I just know I wouldn't get any to like meetings or anything. And not every local show's the same too. Like ODO is a local show and it's huge, and they have a ton of Gundam stuff. The local shows they have up here in New Hampshire, Granite Con, it's the one that's in Manchester or thereabouts every year, is not a super large show and doesn't have a ton of Gundam stuff. Do the GBWC, but can't personalize kits yet. Yeah, GBWC, the whatchamacallit, Hobbytown hosted a bunch of those today, I guess. The local competitions with prices reasonable. I didn't really look at a ton of stuff that I knew what prices were off the top of my head. I stopped trying to figure out if vendors were like scalping Gundam kits, because I doubt anybody is anymore. The one thing I saw that was, well, there's two things, two kits I almost bought, but I did a pretty good job of being good. And, you know, of course not Gundam stuff, because pretty much anything Gundam, I've got a guy. The one was a M34. It was like a 6x6 army truck, like 1/35th scale or something. Maybe it was 170, I don't know, I forget what scale it was. Only because a long time ago I thought at one point it'd be cool to kind of buy one of those surplus, because they were pretty cheap, and having a 6-wheel drive multi-fuel vehicle sounded like a crazy thing to do if you could do it for a few $1,000. So I thought about that one, but the copyright was from like the 60s and 70s, so I didn't know how recent the actual print was, and I was just like, yeah, I'd probably better off actually researching one if I really wanted to build one, rather than buy one at a show that I don't know about. And the other, I don't know who makes it. I think it was a Chinese company, but it was a Tesla tank. I think supposed to be inspired by one of the Red Alert Command & Conquer games. It didn't have any actual Command & Conquer branding on the box, but it looked like something out of like Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 or 3 or something. It looked really cool, but it was like $80, and I was not about to spend $80 to put something on my backlog that I'll probably never get to build. There's an Apocalypse tank out there too. I think there was some other tank too that looked like it was from that, but I couldn't quite place it. I think it was from one of the newer games, and I probably hadn't seen it in the game. I feel like a mammoth tank from the original Red Alert would be really cool. Test tank 1.5 scale, just found it online, does look cool. 130, it probably was 135. So honestly, a lot of model makers haven't updated their molds since the 70s. Red Alert 3. Okay. I played 2 a bunch. I don't know if I ever played 3. I don't think so. I think I was probably in college when 3 came out, and I was a little bit less involved in most games in that time frame. Toss my balancer across here. I should use the good one here. Remember the brand's border for that Tesla tank? That sounds right, actually. But it was cool and novel enough that it was like, oh, this would actually be kind of cool. But like, one of my takeaways is that I don't build enough a couple people did talk. It's like, hey, what have you built since the last time you were down here? And it's like, nothing other than stream builds. So I need to get more time somehow to do more things for me, I guess, but don't know when that'll be. Especially when you see people that are like, yeah, so since February I built 4 model kits and painted and detailed and... Oh, man. F12, F13. You guys make me feel real good about myself and my time. We're almost a half hour in. I think we're going to do the first draw for that HG GQuuuuuX momentarily here. Been on the same kit for like 3 months. Painting's kicking my butt, as well as finding time. Yeah, it's the finding time part. Like, I wouldn't mind if I didn't get much done if I had the time to put something into it. Like, I feel like to some extent trying to do the thing and not being focused on the results but more just the process would not necessarily be a bad thing. But my so little time to build that I think it forces me to try to be hyper efficient when I actually do have time to build, and it almost turns me off from building, if that makes sense. Because I know I'm not going to be able to pick up the project again for a while, potentially, and it's frustrating. Follow my local IPMS on Facebook. Most of the guys in this there seem really nice, and they've done sci-fi themed builds at meetings. It's cool. Every group's kind of different from my understanding. Some lean more heavily to a particular genre of models or style of building and all that kind of stuff. Some are a bunch of crotchety old dudes that don't want to whatever the thing is they don't want to do, and others are totally into whatever. And you got guys that normally build tanks that are seeing Gundam stuff and are like, oh, that's cool, I want to try that. 3 weeks to build HG Ashimar, and I still haven't detailed the legs yet. I used to be able to do it in a couple of days. Deltahood sucks. When I get an idea in every kit I see to bring the idea out of my head is in the 3-digit price range. That can be rough. I feel like for me it's just I've got too many things, right? Trying to run 2 businesses and do the full-time job and having 3 kids and trying to enjoy, like, I don't have enough time for one hobby, let alone the like 3 or 4 that arguably I'm trying to do. It's bad. Eric's doing a bug build during streams. Like, I don't know if anyone would care if you worked on one thing that took months of streams. Big build. I mean, that's fine. I've done some really big projects on stream. I feel like one of the biggest ones was the Blade Liger. Took like 4 months to snap build. And it's not so much that as the painting and customization work. I'm probably going to force myself. I have a whatchamacallit. It's a Silver Bullet, I think, that I snap built on stream maybe a year or 2 ago. That's been sitting on one of my shelves. and I want to scribe and maybe add some plot plate to it. And so I want to detail it and then paint it. And I'm debating doing all that customization work on stream. I think it'd be educational for people, be educational for me, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But it's trading off that versus other small projects. One of my goals this year was to knock out a lot of these like small work in progress things that I've been doing. You know, I got kits that need to be top coated or panel lined or decaled and stuff. I'm trying to clear as many of those off of the list as I can and condense my work in progress. So I'm weighing that too. He's just so excited about building. I've been slowly not caring as much. I think part of it's because I haven't spent anywhere near as much time building as I could. It'd be fun to watch. Yeah, I have to decide how tied I am to my quote-unquote goals. I'm hoping as the weather starts getting colder and things like mowing the lawn stop having to happen, then I'll get more time for that. How's it going, everyone? Gun at Base was near me recently. I was able to check it out. It was pretty cool. It's cool. Burnout's real, though. For me, I feel like the burnout's more on the business side of things. I got to do something for the warehouse, and I just wonder about all the other things I could do at that time that aren't the business. So there is that, but hopefully that'll pass at some point. All right. So first draw here. As with everything, that's very true. I've been burnt out with karate for, I've been studying for 32 years now, and I've probably been burnt out like 20 times. It's all in phases. If you keep at something long enough and can adjust your energy appropriately, you can get through it, and it comes around again generally. You know, it's tough to integrate your passion in a job, which is the norm nowadays, but don't sacrifice an ounce of passion for the sake of business. You can overwater a plant just as easy, right? All right, so what's my question going to be for this first draw? And what is the number range? All right, we got a little bit lower number range because we got the backup prize on tap. All right, let's do a number from 10 to 500. And which is your favorite design from GQuuuuuuX that you've seen so far? Whether you've watched the show or not. 10 to 500 favorite GQuuuuuuX design, or maybe you hate them all, who knows. Remember, 1, number per person. Do not delete or change your number. We only ship US addresses. You must be present to win, and your answer to the question and the number have to be in the same comments for every valid entry. 10 to 500, and what is your favorite design from GQuuuuuuX? With gun cannon. Gun cannon looks pretty cool. I'm not a fan of designs. There are definitely some weirder designs. I feel like if I pretend they're not Gundam, I almost like them more. GQuuuuuuX, but I saw it painted dark blue and it looks incredible. I feel like I saw a GQuuuuuuX with another color scheme that really made it look cool, because otherwise I'm not a huge fan of it. There's definitely some interesting design language going on there. Did you finish the series yet? Yes, we did. It was super weird. I almost feel like I need to go back and watch the original Gundam and then watch it again to really try to wrap my head around what's going on or not going on. I'm trying to interpret all the things that are happening. Love the IBO designs because they're different, but hate the GQuuuuuuX designs because they're different. So with black and gray, with accents orange, it look great. What was the final episode? What do you mean, what was the final episode? It was the last episode. Like, I don't... Shut my brain off for that. Oh. Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I feel like it's the kind of stuff that could cause some significant debate. But I don't think everybody's... I think a lot of people haven't watched it yet. Things from GQuuuuuuX is also from Zeta. Yeah, there's a lot of like references to things that happened or didn't happen, and because of the alternate timeline nature of stuff, there's a lot to try to follow. And I caught myself a few times wondering if these things they were talking about did or didn't happen for real in the other series, and I was just like, it's been too long since I've watched the original Gundam. It's weird because it kind of banned a cool original series to do an unusual pseudo sequel. Okay, and then the stickers. Hey Barry, what's up? Two episodes, I was hooked. Then my subscription ended. Probably will renew today. Keep hearing a lot from the series. From when GQuuuuuuX projected start, took 2 years to get final GQuuuuuuX design. Oh, project start? Interesting. It's an interesting watch, so for sure can't say it was boring. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, there's some interesting premise to it, for sure. Huge Juicy fan, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Not really sure why, though, to be honest. I feel like it was hard to follow at times. I don't know if that's just because I'm super tired when we finally get time to watch it and half out of it or whatever. A GBWC event here today. A decent turnout. That's cool. I think they were going on all over the place today. GQuuuuuuX feet bug me. This guy for like a few episodes and they're fighting over him. Okay, so these. Okay, backpack goes on. Fighting over oblivious boys, typical high school. I feel like the core demographic they're targeting is teenagers. Rifle and beam sword, looks like. Oh, he isn't interested at all, just wants to be with his gun. That's why they're interested, because he's not. We're going to tour the new building. I probably should do one. It'd be a really quick tour. I just haven't had time for a lot of video stuff in general. I mean, it took me, I filmed the ODO vlog in what, February, late February, and it wasn't until July when it went live, so. A few weeks ago, I almost shot like an update kind of video, and then I had a camera issue, and I was just like, screw this, I don't have time and energy to fix these issues right now. Like a modern Gundam series, they just kind of seem rushed. I need a full 50 episodes like they used to. I feel like things jump in some of the series, and it just makes you wonder, like, how do you get from A to B? Why is, you know, or how do you get from A to C? What is B? Still wouldn't require much editing as you walk around. That's true. Serious biker books, those bikes Gundam, which Mercury would feel like it would have been way better if it was more fleshed out towards the end. I feel like they always get to the ends of it and they're like, oh, we've got to wrap up in 3 more episodes. Go. All right, let's call time. Whoops. Where's the Kira? Is it friends he made along the way? They're just snorting glitter. I don't know. End is always where it starts getting preachy. Not claiming Gundam is anti-war. All right, 10 to 500 was the range. 316. You can't just make up terms and not explain them, Bandai. Sure you can. I don't see a 316. I'll let you guys confirm. And if that's the case, we will do another draw shortly. Kira is the new Type Boy smell. It's like Axe body spray, but for your eyes. Kira is a Japanese term this and it's flashing. Beer span with all my beer. Okay. 26 and 27. These girls' thirst levels reach dangerous levels. Here's a new type of adrenaline rush. Goes more willing to kill for it. They just zoom out the whole series as them just taking LSD and having visual hallucinations. It's really the early setup, just illegal fight club with military hardware. That was in the show for me. Yeah, that would have, I mean, they could have gone deep in just that and not had anything to do with the original story other than the alternate timeline thing, and just using that as the setup for the universe, and that would have probably been exciting. I think for the next whiff of Kira, G-Clux was wonderfully dumb. Might become a new gap filler show. Just watch it between other shows. mean, Shuji always seemed high, so... Hooks is my favorite, but that's because nothing beats 8th in his team, and double 83 Stardust Memory. One thing certain though, beyond the time still goes hard even to this day. In other news, finally got my day job work situation figured out for this change. So I'm starting a new 9 to 5 gig. Oh, 9 to 5 is technically valid with it being a 980 schedule, but 9 to 5 gig starting a week from Monday. So that'll be a little exciting, I think. Been in talks trying to make that happen since February. It's a good fit. I hope so. I'm excited. Basically waiting for the go-ahead from the current job because it's a move to a sister company to where I have been working for the last year and a half, maybe. But I'm thinking it's going to be, hoping it's going to be better. Also got word a couple days ago that the 2025 Discord challenge coins are inbound from the manufacturer. I think I should have them in hand in about a week, give or take. So that's also really exciting. looking forward to seeing that one in person. All right. Did your sticker situation ever get resolved? Yes. Our sticker manufacturer was taking forever on this last batch. And we finally got them. I gotta figure out what I want to do regarding the next order, because based on recent reviews of this manufacturer, we're not the only ones dealing with insane delays. Seems to be getting worse and becoming very systematic. So I don't know how to identify the right alternative supplier. All my looking so far, it's been hard to find somebody that can match their price and quality. At least at face value, I think we would place a bunch of test orders. Okay, F10 and 11. Bigger machine might save you more of a time. I actually was looking into that like a year ago. It's a lot of work. I thought about it because it'd be really interesting to be able to make our own stickers and potentially be able to stand up another business. Even suggesting that. I'm sure Kate's like twitching right now somewhere. That I'm sure like it'd be interesting, and our cost might be lower, but there's definitely a bunch of work. Those machines can't sit idle very long, so you almost need to like print like small batches more frequently or something. I don't know. It's occurred to me, but it's a big investment. Nick could supply and sell stickers. Yeah, so I was looking into that. I was thinking like maybe I'll stand up a sticker thing on the side. Kate's putting rocks in your pillow as we speak. I think she's putting rocks in the spare pillow to hit me with while I'm sleeping. That's the more accurate representation of that. Let's see, how many do you order at once? We've been doing stuff like 2,500 stickers, something like that, in a shot. I'd really like to do the printer thing, even if we weren't selling them, because then we could do more variety, and we could do kind of whatever we want. But I don't think I have the time. Nick's pillow fights are wild. It's that, or she's applying the pillow as like a suppression device to some sort of firearm to snuff me in my sleep. If I didn't have like 3 of the other things on my plate, I'd be more up to do it, but I think I'd have to run the machine or hire somebody that could run it. I don't think it would be something I could just expect someone to just hit print on like you use a regular like laser printer. There's a lot more involved. And ideally you need like a laminating machine in addition to the printer, etc., etc., etc. Separate cutter, I think. Imagine a pillow being placed to your face to silence the second pillow. So in local model kit, shop owner dies of mysterious causes and wife is oddly unconcerned. Because some of those machines, when I was looking into it, you can use the same machines. Some of these like industrial commercial printers that you could use to make an okay volume of stickers. Maybe not the highest possible volume, but a moderate volume. You can also do like t-shirt transfers with and stuff. You need another machine to be able to do the transfer. But that'd be really cool too, right? You could kind of print and make t-shirts too. Again, if I had like, I don't know, 20 hours a week to just mess around with stuff like that, it'd be a really interesting thing to mess around with. But I don't really have an extra like 20 hours a week or whatever. Clone yourself like in multiplicity. Yeah, if only. How old are your kids? What are your child labors like in your state? Oldest is 11, and then 6, and then 22 months, I want to say. 20. I don't think my oldest even would be able to do it. I think there's some precision involved, and my oldest is definitely not the master of precision. Not yet. Maybe someday. As it is, I feel like I got a bunch of other things pulling me in other directions. We had another little mini flood at the warehouse Wednesday into Thursday. Got in, and the whatchamacallit, we had a decent amount of rain very briefly, I want to say. Rained pretty hard Wednesday evening, and it must have come down the slope into the entrance. So I'm looking at alternative locations for the dojo again. Something came on the market in a pretty good place and size, right in the sweet spot, like that day. So I'm gonna hopefully check that out next week, and that would be a good little thing to do, you know. Check that out. Vanya mentioned, yeah, it's feeling that way a little bit, like the universe is saying, okay, now's the time. Go look, Nick, and here's a good option. So hopefully when I see the inside and talk to the landlord there more, it'll look like something good. Because the current landlord for the dojo now is as hands-off as possible. It took at least a day for him to get somebody in there to help with the cleanup stuff, and it's just kind of disgusting, to be frank. Wax on, wax off. Well, kids, same cost to get a mop and clean up the flood. The entryway is actually like tile, and I had my 6-year-old was there with me, and I had him mopping a little bit. He did a good job helping me out. But the carpet, I needed a wet dry vac to get water off of it, and that's where he came in. But trying to get him to actually give a crap and do anything urgently, because it's been humid down there. It's like a basement. Trying to avoid mold is a huge challenge. All right. Ooh, I got an idea for an interesting question. All right, second draw of the night. Let's do a number from 10 to 300. And what is the worst business idea ever? Let's go with something like that. Let's try to keep it clean, guys. 10 to 300, worst business idea ever. One number per person. Do not delete or change your number. We only ship to US addresses. You must be present to win, and your answer to the question and the number had to be in the same comments for a valid entry. 10 to 300, and what's your worst business idea ever? Screen doors for submarines. See if we can get some funny options here. I don't get too free of anything. Something use bath water. I don't know. I think that works for some people. I don't think I could make it work, but something VHS, drive-in barber, mobile anything, painting minis for the people. Ice salesman in Alaska. Drive-through liquor store. Don't those exist? They put it right in your trunk for you or something? So your engineering skills when you have 0 engineering experience. Call on booze through here. Drive-through liquor store. It's a real thing. Being real, selling video games with licenses without actual ownership. Registered used to have a drive-through liquor store. They got rid of the drive-through window a few years ago. Trying to plank for this one. Sorry, GM has been hiring engineers with no experience for years. I mean, you need to get experience somewhere, so there is that. That's where all the complaints about entry-level positions requiring 5 years experience come from, I think. Radio Shack. Little dartboards. It's really annoying when they require 5 years, but no one really wants to give you that 5 years. I think the intent is they count things like internships and stuff like that as experience. But yeah, it is kind of ridiculous. Certain fields, I'd say like engineering. If you know anybody that's getting an engineering degree, you need to go for an internship, because it's like the only guaranteed kind of place that'll hire you with zero experience, and you need that experience if you want a good chance of getting a job right out of school. Should count college for experience. It depends. Some like if you do like a master's, your research can sometimes count. You could kind of count like a senior design project as some experience in engineering kind of areas. It's all about kind of presenting a good case for what you have done. All right, and then B25. Some colleges offer unpaid internships. I mean, it's not that hard to get a paid internship in engineering. I've never actually had or seen one advertised that wasn't paid. In engineering, at least. I feel like other fields, unpaid might be more common. Like, I don't know, journalism or something like that. They might expect you to come in unpaid. But I feel like that's partially because those fields don't pay you much if you do have experience. Right, engineering is a pretty solid pay structure once you have experience. So to make, 12 or 15 bucks an hour as an intern, probably more than that now, actually. I want to say when I was intern and co-op and all that kind of stuff, when I was still in school, I was getting 12 to 15, and that was a long time ago. If you're doing that instead of working at McDonald's or whatever to get your spending money while you're in school, like, you might as well do the thing that's going to help set you up for your career. Friend who got fired from his internship, doing it over trade school or college. I definitely could see that. I'm totally weighing, or at least want to make sure it's part of the conversation when my kids are considering school. I have a feeling my son will probably go for like an engineering degree or something, but it's a reasonable thing to think about going to trade school instead of getting a degree. Because at least right now, and for the next, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, you probably actually have a better prospect getting a job with a trade. And you got a path to eventually start your own business and that kind of stuff too if you're entrepreneurial. Sadly, my folks were too fixated on the college dream. To trade school, D as a mechanic. Cool. I just work a labor job at a small company pouring flavorings and making less than someone my age probably should these days. It's a bummer. I don't know what your bandwidth is, or how old you are, and that kind of stuff, but I imagine going back for a trade program, and it was actually right next to where my current day job is. There's like a mechanical school or whatever that does HVAC and plumbing and whatever kind of stuff. But I don't know that it's that hard to do something like do a night school for something like that to get a certificate or whatever to be able to get in somewhere. All right, let's call time. Okay, 10 to 300. The diesel mechanic is making bank. $31. Okay, I don't see a 31. I'll let you guys confirm if that's the case. Draw again in a bit. But he got a prison, went into welding school, finished under a year, and is making good money now as an ex-felon too. Wow, cool. As much as I should. I feel like if you have the aptitude to do any of those kind of things, like they're a good way to go. Alright, so this guy is now done. No winners. Okay, we'll draw again in a bit. So Lanza Sol is crossed off. Certified welders get paid. Yeah, welders, if you're a good welder, welders make decent money. All right. I think back to panel lining. What is this stuff? Oh, that's for like the other modes or something. Okay. Know where I can get the drive to do that kind of work. 7 years at current place. We're on a filling bottom line for 7.79 an hour. Quarter of it is eaten up by taxes. Healthcare goes into the black hole at 401k. Yeah, it's. I don't know where you're at, where you live, what the cost of living's like there. That's kind of tough. Just winging it through life. See if I can at this point change my lot in life. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's ever too far gone. As long as you're not like in your 70s, you can probably do something to change something if you want to. A lot of traveling involved to get that money. That's true. I mean, even like the UPS drivers and stuff make good money. Yeah, really good benefits too. One of those forever home types. The only reason I can afford to put that much in a 401k and afford hobbies. Yeah, if you're living at home, helping out at home, taking care of the parents, getting free rent that way or whatever. That is a good way to make do. Postal services are always looking for fresh faces. Yeah, I just know specifically like UPS, when I've heard some of them talk about the amount of vacation they get and pay and stuff, it's kind of crazy. Offshore oil rig work, that was my reset plan if I ever need it. Anything like that will definitely get you paid too. So they can't drowsy exit for my lazy left eye. Almost no depth perception. One of my brothers is kind of like that. He's got, you know, has a lazy eye. Not the kind that's looking wherever, but just one of his eyes just doesn't try very hard. Like 150 hours of PTO currently, but most I take a day off every 2 weeks or so. I literally cannot bring myself to go anywhere, and I spend too much time at home as it is. I wish you could loan me some of that PTO. My PTO bank is practically empty as I go to transition to this other job. It's going to be starting over, rebuilding that bank back up. So do my coworkers. Offer to sell it to them, but my bosses say no. It's funny. You can cash that in though, right? At some point, when you hit your max, they usually like either force you to use it or lose it kind of thing, or they pay you out. No? I just look at the handbook for the new place, and they have a limit to how many you can carry over, and if you don't carry them over, they pay them out. If you don't get paid for them, I would just take the time off and sit on my hands if I had to. Just gonna walk around the block for a few hours. If I had no other plans to use them, you know. I'll get paid to sit on my hands. I got like no carrier. We got to use 80 hours by like October or lose them. Wow. Sounds like you need to take a couple weeks off. When I started, it was you could only carry over a few days over, and you lost the rest, no payout. Then it went to an overall limit. You carried over, then no limit, then back to a limit. I kind of can understand why they put the limit in place, because like if you save it all up and then leave, and then I think in a lot of places they're required to pay you out your saved up time if you like leave, and so I could see why to reduce that liability all at once. If you don't use it with mine, I stayed home last week for that reason. I was over the 300 max and the only one doing what I do, so never a good time. Yeah, that's always rough. Since going back to having a full-time job, I have not yet had an issue with using my time, although I did use a bunch of time at the beginning of the year for the move too. I think I caused some of the changes because my supervisor would get notifications that I was straddling the limit line constantly. Go visit Nick, there you go. For the next 150 hours, you use 1 hour every day and just hit the gym with that. There you go. If they let you do something like that, I would say even doing something like that, you know, just take like a half day every Friday or something. Leave early occasionally for a couple hours. Occasion comes soon. I plan to spend most of my time not caring about work and building Gundam kits as soon as I pay for the HG quant that I want things intense. Playing Super Robot Wars. 30 makes me watch Victory Gundam. 2 for a cup. I gotta watch Super so I can buy a kid at Series. Helps you manage the spending. Job used to let us sell back 80 hours at a time if we wanted to out of our PTO bank, but they don't let us do that anymore. Yeah, I mean that's a good deal if you have it saved up. It's just if you can sell it back, then that's great. You get some extra money. That does usually get to be approved beforehand. It can be long in getting the request. Job entails running online that I can't just stop mid-run and leave. I'm sitting with like 204 hours in my bank, so I never take PTO. I just totally can't imagine. Tried to do a day off every 2 weeks, but that fell off several times this year. During training weeks, we're running a new line. SQF audit, stress fest, the past few weeks, etc. The job lets me use PTO for partial days rather than only take full or half days. Great on Fridays when I can leave an hour early. That's a good way to use it. The last few days I took off, I ended up going to work to assemble 3D printers because it seemed like the most fun thing to do. Was kind of greedy with PTO. The manager they just hired almost didn't come over because he had 5 weeks at the place he was at and it wouldn't give him 2 weeks PTO at the start. Oh wow. One of the cool things with my transition to the new place, because there's a sister company, I've been told that my time at the current gig is going to count towards my seniority in terms of my increasing PTO eventually, which is kind of cool. So I think it bumps up, you know, an extra half week or something at 5 years, and so I already have almost 2 years into that. I always have the fear of needing a week or more for family matters and sickness, and so I tell myself I need to save 100 hours at all times. There's nothing wrong with saving up a bunch like that if you got it, but if you're at like 150 or whatever you said, it sounds like you could take a week off. Typically, the limit PTO was it's hard getting full days off, so I'm trying to use 2 to 3 hours a week, still leave early a couple days. I hate the idea of unlimited PTO because then it's like this awkward, like, how much is enough? How much is too much? You tell me I have unlimited PTO, well, I'm gonna take off every other week. Hey, Repo Raven, what's up? But you know, if you take off every other week, you're not gonna have that job very long. So just tell me what's the acceptable range. Nearest bit is ignore officers' voluntary overtime because I'd rather go home on time, but at the same time, I cannot stand just sitting at home for a week. Don't have PTO, sick, vacation, medical. Me too, but more because it's not technically limited. They have other coworkers say they couldn't use anymore. No PTO is just a way for employers to not have to pay out on retirement or termination. Yeah. No PTO, take off 2 to 3 hours every morning and go in at 11 a.m., right? What are you working on tonight? This is the... Right now I'm working on the aerial rebuild. I'm doubling back for panel lining. Let's finish up the Delonza Sol. I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes ago or something. One of my goals this year is trying to get more of my kits that are like work in progress pushed over the line to being complete. Why they give you clear beam sabers and Talkies too? Why not just make them blue already? Is the blue a new thing? No, get one of those humanoid droids here. Shake your face on boom, early retirement. So because of the at-home setup, if I take a day off, my father will remark offhand they should be working if I'm not on an actual vacation. I don't know, you should find some place, like, could you go to a local coffee shop or library or somewhere that you could sit at a table somewhere, bring a model and some tools or something and just hang out? I don't know what's in your area, but I have to imagine there'd be some semi-public place that you could hang out for the day that wouldn't mind you being there. Do you have any idea when you get into the retail release for the Wing HG kits? I'm not sure. Kate was just remarking that one of our distributors, the quantities disappeared from their portal with some update they did, so we're not sure what's going on with that. Nothing like that, sadly. Park. Go to work and sit in the cafeteria. If they have one. They're left to use blue beam sabers in the anime to avoid copyright issues. There must be something. Might require some creativity. So taking time off per month. He's trying to take the next 2 Fridays off since folks will be off on vacation anyways. There you go. I'm just remembering wrong. I really like blue beam sabers in the aerial rebuild. Yeah, there's some like they're like light blue or something. I don't think I have the blades handy here. Paint clear saber. Recently used one of those faux stained glass paint sets, worked like a charm. Oh, cool. I think Tamiya's got some clear colored paints that would probably work for something like that too. Oddly enough, I find Mondays off better than Fridays. I find it better because Fridays are usually less intensive days at work. Sometimes you just cannot sleep on Sunday nights. That makes sense. Or people try to take Fridays off too, I think. So if you're trying to go somewhere or do something that might be less busy on a Monday than a Friday. Some of that. I was wondering how to paint the clear parts by hand. Speaking of colored things, they just need to make a mono eye kit's eye that color, not make a decal. It doesn't sit well. As they get older, weekdays are better to be off, so I don't have to be stuck in traffic twice a day. But I used the dollar store stained glass pitcher and paint kit. I was kind of shocked how well it worked. That's interesting. It's a good little tip. I wouldn't have thought. I didn't even know those existed, honestly, but I wouldn't have thought that that would have been a good option for that, but it kind of makes sense. Alright, I'm going to throw up this next draw here in a moment. So I was able to snag any of the cross contrast P-Bandite kits recently. Wanted to try Wednesday at some point because of the saying it'd only work 2 days before a break, but again, work details would make that rough. Doing Zaku Dodge Dom kits and the decal, the half of the eye never sits right or falls off. Should look at using markers. Can be a good option for doing mono eyes. Let's figure out this next draw. Let's see. Anyways, enough of my doom posting a stock Taco Bell. I heard they got a new Baja Blast flavor out. I haven't been at Taco Bell in weeks. Kind of want to keep it that way. I feel like I keep getting drawn back. I'm trying to keep the calories down. I feel like I got weight to drop. All right, let's do for the next draw here. Let's do 10 to 100, and since the Mountain Dew thing came up Let's ask the question, what is your favorite soda, soft drink, pop? Should actually ask what you call it, where you're from. 10 to 100, favorite soda. 1 number per person. Do not delete or change your number. We only ship to US addresses. You must be present to win, and your answer to the question and the number have to be in the same comment for the valid entry. 10 to 100, favorite soda. Had pop soda in over half a year, quit it, and sweets to drop from 180 to 160. If you drink a lot of soda, it's a really easy way to reduce your calorie count. 10 to 100 is the number range, Rodrigo. I kind of wish I had a bad soda habit, because then losing weight would be easier. I started, I don't know, like a month ago maybe, trying to be a little bit more careful. Vacation didn't really help, but trying to be more careful with my caloric intake, trying to get my steps up and stuff, walking a ton. I'm borderline wondering if I'm getting addicted to walking, because I feel like I can get close to my step count and I just want to keep going and going and going. So the West Coast Rockies area, pop everywhere else. Here in New England, I think soda is the common terminology. It's not a bad addiction. Yeah, it's definitely better than some other ones out there. It doesn't cost me anything. Not bad for me, at least until my knees and feet give out. Made a mistake and asked for soda while visiting family in Minnesota. Didn't look before sipping out the foam cup and got a surprise. Doctor's trying to get me to exercise more and try and get my blood pressure down, but with my ankle not healing well right now, so I'm limited on what I can do. Yeah, there's definitely that. I was feeling we did a lot of walking on vacation, being in the amusement park and stuff. My feet, especially towards the end there, were getting really sore. Bay Area, Northern CA, but I'm pretty sure most of CA calls it soda. Be more walking if it wasn't so damn hot in my area. That does make sense. I've been trying to get up and walk in the morning before I head to work. I've done a little at the dojo too. I'll just walk essentially laps around the dojo on those days to get a few extra steps in if I'm not at my count yet before classes and stuff. Seems to be working okay. Sure, Diet soda may have contributed to my kidney stone last summer. I get a 20-minute walk each day by going to a community mailbox. It's a 10-minute walk to, a 10-minute walk back. Well, that's freaking great. That's not supposed to move. My feet at work most of the day, so unless the walking more, they tend to do ab crunches and squats every day or so after work. That can help too. Oh, it's so frustrating. I just broke a piece on this thing. The stone, but I've heard people tell me they'd rather died. I think of Stones, I instantly think of that Family Guy skit where the one guy's in the bathroom playing his guitar. My past one without meds over weeks. He didn't think to give him any or do anything to help him. The doctor smacked him and told him they could have broke it up. Sounds unpleasant. Alright. I'm gonna call time, I think. Let's call time. I'm trying to figure out if I want to repair this piece now or later. Okay, 10 to 100, 74. I don't see a 74. I'll let you guys confirm. Clean up these other pieces first. He's a welder. I've seen him grab a car thermostat out of boiling water instead of using tongs. That just sounds uncomfortable. Now 76. I think the Reaper is just scared to show up for a take. Be able to put my hand on a hot burner and not feel it. That doesn't sound good. 100 got a Lindworm. I saw a designer earlier today and got interested. Does anyone here have it? So how's experience the build? And then my own dad, they only 2 minutes for the terrifying me. See if this holds. House fire, my hand was burned enough that you can see bone. And you say not much feeling left in that hand. That's rough, dude. My one of my sons, when he was 1, burned his hands really bad. The palms on a glass fireplace. It's actually why we do the charity stream for Shriners Hospitals for Children every year, because they were the ones that helped him, and his hands thankfully healed extremely well with no long-term ill effects, but he had some pretty significant burns. Don't wish that on anybody. Glass fireplaces are deceptively hot, yeah. Yeah, they are. He was lucky that he was so young and that it was his palms that they healed so well. Had they been, you know, some other area, he probably would have had a lot more long-term problems, I think. And had he not been so young. Okay. So hopefully that That cure is good. I can fix that later. All right. We can do one more draw, I think. Even with this more aggressive number range. We've had no such luck yet. Okay, let's see. For our final range. Alright, so final draw of the night. We're doing a number from 10 to 60, and let's answer the question, what is the most recent kit you completely done, on display or put away? 10 to 60, most recent kit you've completed. Remember, one number per person. Do not delete or change your number. We only ship to US addresses. You must be present to win, and your answer to the question and the number have to be in the same comment for a valid entry. Again, 10 to 60, and what is the most recent kit you have completed? I think the head is set on this. Body's got a few. See the peep in a re-release announcement. Excited about Deep Striker. Ones I'm interested in. HG Messer, nice. So that's some Deep Striker. Do you want to put my wallet? Ain't ready. All right. Legs. God, 255 gift fees are waiting for that drop. Browsing Reddit this morning and spotted a post about a third-party 100 skill devil gun. I'm seeing interesting, so I thought I should mention it. That's cool. Looks like there's a bunch of interesting third-party kits coming on the market. Fix the Elantra so my wife doesn't have to spend $400 plus monthly on Uber. Yeah, it seems like a better financial play than buying another kit. It's like asking people for money not to see my feet. All right. Reverse OnlyFans. All right, I got these legs to finish up, but I think I'll do that next time. I wanted to show this off real quick. So my one take home from the event was this from Mini Mech Armory, I think. He's making 3D printed parts. He gave me these for free. He's actually watches the stream from time to time. Not sure if he's watching it or listening today. These kind of interesting variety of 3D printed parts. I think they're resin 3D prints. So he threw these my way after a quick conversation. It's kind of interesting stuff. I'm not sure when, where, or how I'll make use of them yet, but I might have to find some sort of custom project to use them for. But it seems like there's a variety of different like magazines and optic type things, accessories, underbarrel, whatevers, and seem kind of interesting. Still kind of finding new cool stuff as I go here, but like little missile launchers and optics and stuff. So kind of an interesting concept he was vending at the show. See the out of resin stuff, but everything I see is for HG. His 3D printer is always hooking me up with random stuff. I feel like having a 3D printer would be kind of cool. Again, if I had time to actually mess around with some of this stuff. I don't know what half this stuff is. There's some things that are clearly meant to be optics. I feel like some of these things aren't really set to go with each other. But maybe at some point I'll figure something out with all this. Alright, I'm gonna call time. Let's get a winner. Give away this GQuuuuuX. See a chain bandit, yeah. Was it Gears of War vibes there? I feel like that would be a good model kit, like the Gears of War characters. Alright, number range was 10 to 60. 53. How many draws will it take? A couple FDM printers, not great for Gunpla, but very handy nonetheless. See, the only 53 I see is from the previous draw. If I get a confirmation, I'll draw again. Wife works at the school. They gave her one because she learned how to use it, include the course, so she has one. That's cool. No winners. All right, take two. Same number range. 13. Lucky number 13. I think we have two. Blasphemy builds and nobodies. All right. So I guess we're going to the coin. Maybe next week we'll have the new coin. We'll see. Before I get into Splash Me builds, calls, tails. So we got tails. We got heads. I'm going to flip the coin, catch it, put it back in my hand, and we'll see who wins that way. Nobody's here. There's nobody here. I'll wait before I flip the coin. Because Blasphemy builds might win by default if nobody is not here. There we go. Alright, so nobody's has heads. Blasphemy builds has tails. Ask when the coins will drop. They're on their way right now. All right, here we go. Good flip. It turns out it is heads. So congratulations, nobodies. You can send an email to support@mechawarehouse.com with your info, and we will get that shipped out to you as soon as we can. So that takes us to the end of the stream. Kit goes to nobody. The kit is nobody's. All right. So congratulations, nobodies. Thank you all for watching, hanging out. Glad to be back. Should see you guys next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be giving away something else, probably something extra special. We had a donation that arrived while we were gone. Checked out today at P Bandai Kits. So tune in next week. That'll probably be our main prize. And yeah, have a great week. Oh yeah, don't forget 15% off all in-stock items this weekend with code AUG15. Head over to mechawarehouse.com. Take advantage. See you guys all next week.